This is Jason Verney's podcast. I am Jason Verney. In this episode, I want to talk about the Lexi Cinema, and in particular, the Lexi Film School. I have touched on the Lexi Cinema before. If you see my Instagram postings or my Twitter postings or Facebook, or even my website, minimovie.com, you will have seen me mention this cinema. I believe it's the only socially responsible cinema in the UK. Definitely of this particular kind. I mean, it's everything this cinema does. Every person that works there, well, actually, nearly every person that works there is a volunteer. Every ticket you buy, every packet of popcorn, if you do popcorn, I mean, whatever you buy, and whether it's a glass of wine, it all goes to this essentially an eco village in Africa. This cinema is a very small cinema. It's about 80 seats. I think there's less or more depending if they use the balcony. There's a lovely balcony obviously above, and there are some extra seats at the front and sometimes I believe maybe at the side. But this is a beautiful cinema. Now it's not the closest one to me. The very closest cinema to me is the Tricycle Cinema. Now that's actually a Tricycle Theatre, which happens to have a cinema screen, but which is actually right now that's actually undergoing a name change, which is perhaps not been taken that well by some people. It's now called the Kiln. But anyway, of late, in the last, I've been going to the Lexi Cinema. It's in Kensal Rise. I'm kind of Queen's Park, Kilburn kind of area, without giving it away too much. And for me to walk over there, it's a lovely stroll distance to walk to the Lexi Cinema in Kensal Rise. You have to walk a little bit up the hill, depending where you're coming from. Of course, if you're walking, you can dive right directly there. But I mean, if you're getting the overground to Kensal Rise, it's just a little walk up the road. Some lovely coffee shops and restaurants around there. But this Lexi Cinema, which, as I say, I've mentioned before, especially on my mini movie website, and not least when it had its refurb, it feels like a couple of years ago, maybe it was even longer than that, but they now have this brilliant gallery area, a lovely bar area. There's a bit more space now, and there's even a little outside area at the back. I've spoken about this on a recent podcast or two, especially one where I was briefly reviewing the film Wind River. But this particular podcast, as I say, is dedicated to the Lexi Cinema, but also the Lexi Film School. Now, this is technically not a film school per se. It does cost money, very little money, but it's not a film school in the conventional sense of the word of a film school. But the Lexi people have put together this brilliant 7-film schedule, which runs from the end of April all the way to almost to July, the last week in June. And they've liaised with, there's a lot of hard work that's gone into this. They've liaised with people from the BFI, Sight and Sound magazine. Well, BFI, Sight and Sound and Little White Lies are kind of closely linked. If anyone who subscribes to the BFI South Bank or reads those publications, they will know. But to give you a bit of an idea what this season has in store, basically, I guess I should just give you an overview of it first. There's 7 films, so 7 different screenings, all with a pretty well-known host at the screening who give a nice, detailed talk about their view on the film and why they came to like it, why they came to choose that particular film. And I'm saying this because I'm saying this based on the fact that I actually attended the first film just a few days ago, last Monday, which was Citizen Kane. Believe it or not, I'm not sure I've ever seen the Citizen Kane all the way through, and definitely not on the big screen. So this was a brilliant experience. It was introduced by Danny Lee, Now anyone who watches the film review on BBC, or I think it's, I always get confused whether it's the film 2018 or the film review show or whatever, film show. Either way, you'll see him on there quite a few times. He's basically BFI senior film and TV curator, broadcaster, obviously, because I just mentioned that, and a journalist. So he introduced the film. I bought a ticket for that. I was very lucky because I think I got a ticket that went back on sale, and then they were sold out. One ticket went back on sale. I got it, and then they were sold out again. But the thing is, I love the evening so much, and the hard work that the Lexi had put into this. I mean, these are big hosts and big films we're talking about here. Excuse me. And that evening itself really took me over and grabbed me, and I thought, I'm going to have to subscribe to the whole 7 film season. So the kind guys there, they happily sort of did a little bit of an adjustment so that I could see all the films in this season. And I'll just tell you what you get for this particular season before I mention the films that are involved. I mean, tickets are only £8, £6 if you're a Lexi member. There's also a reduced price of £35 if you book all 7 Lexi Film School titles at the same time. Now, even if you miss the first couple of films, it still works out pretty cheap, pretty good value. You also get some information that's emailed to you, kind of a bit like you would at the BFI if you went to see one of their films, what the BFI South Bank I'm talking about, not the BFI IMAX, where you get a fact sheet and some info about the film and how it was made, etc. And you get that emailed to you before these screenings. And also you will receive a code for a free 30-day subscription to the streaming platform Mubi, which I'm often dipping in and out of. So you get a lot for this money. You know, you are committing yourself to Mondays. Not every Monday. It's kind of it's sometimes fortnightly, sometimes weekly. So you're talking the actual Mondays that are involved in this. Monday the 30th of April, Monday the 7th of May, which is today, and then you have a couple of weeks gap. You have Monday the 21st, and you have a couple of weeks gap again or so. Monday the 4th of June, Monday the 11th of June, so just a week later, Monday 18th of June, a week later, and Monday, again, a week later, Monday 25th of June. So you get a lot for this. And not only that, these films that are being shown, even if you have seen them, you might not have seen them on the big screen, but they range from documentaries to drama to films that are introducing something to you regarding history or current debates, current, world culture. So all these films are important on different levels and different dates. So the first one, as I mentioned, was Danny Lee, but the one that's on today or tonight is hosted by Sonali Joshi. She's the curator for the Day for Night and the Aperture and Pacific Film Festival. But the film is In the Mood for Love. Now that's been shown a little bit lately. The Genesis Cinema screened, I believe, a free screening of that in their bar area, so it wasn't kind of a cinema experience like it would be in the Lexi, but in the bar area. I believe that's why it was a free thing. But it's a very well-known film. I mean, Wong Kar-wai, Asian director, Hong Kong Chinese, whatever you want to label it as, he is extremely well-known. This is from 2000, and this film is, one of the biggest or most well-known films from that part of the world and from that year. So In the Mood for Love. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, I can't recall if I've actually seen it on the big screen. It sounds terrible, but I can't. So I'm looking forward to that as tonight's film. Then we have 21st of May, Black Girl. The host, this is by, I have to pronounce the director's name, Ousmane Sembini. It might be Ousmane Sembine or something else. Film made in 1966. This is on Monday, 21st of May. The host of this is Manish Agarwal. He's the BFI London Film Festival and Overnight Film Festival guy. Basically, he's known for those two festivals. Then, fast forwarding on to 4th of June, we have Chocolat. Whether you've seen that or not, it's directed by Claire Denis. The host is Sophie Monks Kaufman, and she's a contributing editor for Little White Lies. And speaking of Little White Lies, we then go to Monday 11th of June and we have the film Ratcatcher by director Lynn Ramsey. She's a big name these days, it seems. The host for that particular screening is Tom Huddleston. He's an author and critic for Time Out, Little White Lies, as I just mentioned, and Sight and Sound. So the last two films we have coming, Mikey and Nicky, that's directed by Elaine May from 1976, and that's Monday the 18th of June. Peter Bradshaw, now he's probably one of the most famous film critics around. He's the chief film critic of The Guardian. And we then finally have All This Panic by Jenny Gage, a 2017 film, on Monday 25th, and the host is Simran Hans, film critic for The Observer. So all pretty big hosts, all pretty big films, and the good thing is some of these films, they're part of the intentions, the Lexi and the curators, was that they pick films that haven't been seen on the big screen for a while, or maybe they never saw on the big screen themselves, so they wanted to see on the big screen. Different reasons, basically. But, I mean, this Lexi, for the price of, it's a normal ticket for a film on a Monday at the Lexi is, I think, £7, only £5 if you remember. So it's a really good deal anyway. Fair enough, these are at £8 full price, £6 for members. But yeah, as I say, you'd get on the Friday before the film, you'd get some additional information emailed to you, short film notes, links to further reading, and a few sort of suggested, if you like this, then try this, try these titles. I'm really looking forward to this. As I say, after that first screening, I was in two. I really wanted to see the Citizen Kane. I mean, you can't get any more classic than the Citizen Kane. I remember my days in between 96 and 99 working in Blockbuster Video, and of course we're all kind of film buffs in our own right and film critics in our own right who worked there. And this was one that my colleague was always talking about at the time, and I think I even got it on DVD, and not sure if I even took it out of its cellophane, but I probably saw it somewhere, be it on TV or whatever. But it's just, Orson Welles being the director, the producer, I think, as well, the actor. It was a unique bit of filmmaking, not just the story, but the film, the camera, the cinematography, all of it. Even if it was black and white. So yeah, that's it. The Lexi Film School at the Lexi Cinema. I'm sure by the time you read this, by the time you hear this, you would have missed one or two screenings of this. So I really wanted to put this out there so that it can make you aware of this particular season that the Lexi are putting on. But not only that, but also to remind you of the wonderful things that the Lexi do. Just to reiterate, when you go there, it looks from the outside of the Lexi Cinema, it looks like a kind of it could be a house or a church or something. But thanks to a year or two ago, they put this signage, a bit like the Prince Charles has. I think they call it a lithograph or something very similar to that. They put up there, so it looks like a cinema. You've got the film titles up there. There was actually a crowdfunding thing for that, which I helped to contribute to. So it was something I was very passionate about. And as I say, when you go to the Lexi Cinema itself, you'll be greeted by whoever's on the first counter, which is kind of where you can buy tickets and you can buy other stuff like popcorn and other things. But not only that, and there'll be volunteers. Always, I believe all the ones that work in that area are always volunteers. They're just doing couple of shifts a fortnight, just for passion and love, and maybe the odd free film. But so you're welcomed into that through the main doors, and if you were to go straight ahead, almost after going to that little lobby, you'd then go into the auditorium. However, you can either walk through the auditorium straight through to the bar area, or you could actually go, instead of going through the auditorium, you can go left up through this lovely little art gallery area with some very lovely tables that have been designed by an artist, and basically all the areas sort of linked together. For such a small place, I think it's provided a lot of space, and as I say, members get reduction off drinks and seasons like this, and other food and stuff. And there's a tiny area outside as well, out the back, and a little bit out the front. That's not meant for sitting around, I don't think. So yeah, I mean, it's. I have to mention one more thing. When you're sitting waiting for the film to start, or waiting for the trailers to commence, you will see above you in the auditorium some brilliant colour changing light bulbs, an intense sort of group of light basically that go from pink to white to green to blue to whatever slowly, and it just loves it adds a lovely cosy feel to the place. I mean, it's cosy already, having 80 or so seats, maybe 100 max, and it's amazing. It's I'm fortunate enough to live quite close to it, but I will say that Kensal Rise, or even Kensal Green, if you get off there, you've got the overground at Kensal Rise, you've got the Bakerloo, I believe it is, in the other overground, I think, at Kensal Green. So you've got a lot of options, or you can just walk from Queen's Park. It's not that out of the way. It's and it's very well known. Even for my friend who recently came along to a screening, I think he said, "Oh yeah, I know that. My friend or my brother or somebody had their wedding, or their wedding party there, or their birthday party there." So it's been well known for having events. So I'm sorry if this sounds a bit rushed. I really wanted to just get this out there because I love what the Lexi do. As I say, they donate. Their charity essentially is they donate 100% of all the profits to the Sustainability Institute, and that's a pioneering South African charity dedicated to changing lives. So I don't think there's any other cinema in the country that's quite like this one. Oh, there's not quite like this one. So I'm going to leave you to that, and I'll say happy watching wherever you watch your films, and happy viewing, and happy bank holiday. Okay, all the best. See ya.